Welcome back to Scape News, where we don't just watch the nest. We decode it. It is a question that has gripped every eagle watcher in Big Bear Valley since the second egg cracked open. Eaglet number 1 is feeding. Eaglet number 2 is falling behind. And in the footage we are about to analyze together, footage captured directly from the Jackie and Shadow nest cam, the answer may already be written. The question is, do you know how to read it? As of this morning, Jackie and Shadow's nest in Big Bear Valley holds 2 eaglets. Eaglet number 1 hatched first, and in the raptor world, those first hours of life are not simply the beginning. They are the entire foundation upon which survival is built. Every feeding, every caloric intake, every gram of protein absorbed in that critical 72-hour window determines whether an eaglet will develop the strength to compete or yield to a sibling who simply arrived first. Eaglet number 2 entered the world approximately 12 hours later. In a nest governed entirely by instinct, 12 hours is not just a measurement of time. It is a measurement of competitive disadvantage. The community watching this nest has already noticed, and they are right to be concerned. The question we are going to answer forensically today is this: what does the feeding behavior we are seeing on the cam actually tell us about eaglet number 2's survival odds? Before we examine the footage, I want to tell you exactly what we are looking for. There are 3 forensic indicators that will reveal whether eaglet number 2 is receiving adequate nutrition. First, beak angle. When Jackie lowers her beak toward an eaglet, the direction and angle of that approach tells us which chick she is targeting. Second, portion duration. A successful feeding is not simply contact. It is sustained contact. Count how many times the eaglet's beak closes around the food. That number matters more than people realize. Third, positioning. The eaglet physically closest to Jackie's chest has the competitive advantage. If eaglet number 2 is consistently pushed to the outer edge of the nest bowl, that is a nutritional red flag. Keep those 3 indicators in mind. We are about to watch this footage together. There they are, both eaglets in frame. Eaglet number 1, the larger of the 2, is already positioned forward. The head is elevated. The beak is already open. That is not simply hunger. That is conditioning. In just 24 to 36 hours of life, the firstborn eaglet has already learned the feeding position. Now locate eaglet number 2. Smaller. The down still matted in places. Head movements slower. Less coordinated. At this stage of development, that alone is not alarming. But what happens in the next few moments will tell us everything. Jackie is lowering her beak. This is the moment. Watch the angle. There it is. Eaglet number 1 receives first access. This is statistically consistent with what wildlife researchers call the priority feeding pattern. The dominant chick receives first contact, and typically the largest portion, by virtue of size and proximity alone. Now, watch eaglet number 2. Is it reaching? Is it competing? Or is it waiting? This is the forensic detail the raw cam footage cannot explain on its own. What you are watching is not cruelty. It is biology operating precisely as designed. Jackie is not ignoring eaglet number 2 deliberately. She is responding to the most visible, most vocal, most physically dominant stimulus in her immediate field of vision. Right now, that is eaglet number 1. Now, watch this. Jackie pivots as she tries to give eaglet number 2 a portion. Note the duration of that contact. Count those feeding moments. In documented bald eagle broods with a 12-hour hatch gap, the second-born eaglet typically receives between 35 and 50% of total food delivered in early sessions. The survival threshold, the minimum caloric intake required for neurological and physical development in the first 72 hours, sits at approximately 40%. We are watching eaglet number 2 try to clear that threshold. And if it doesn't, this story changes fast. The feeding is drawing to a close. Jackie is pulling back. Both eaglets are settling. Look at eaglet number 2 right now. One last forensic check. Is the crop visible? The crop is the small pouch just below the throat. It fills noticeably when an eaglet has eaten. A visible crop is one of the clearest external indicators of adequate nutrition we can observe from this distance. If that crop is visible, eaglet number 2 ate. If it is flat, we have a concern. Here's the verdict. Eaglet number 2 is not competing much at this time, and not very comfortable looking. Jackie tried to deliver food to both eaglets in this session. Eaglet number 1, as expected, received first access and the dominant initial portions. Eaglet number 2 was taken down and didn't appear to get much, if any, during this feeding. But here's the question that matters beyond this single feeding. Is this pattern sustainable? In the first 72 hours of life, eaglets must feed every 2 to 4 hours to maintain adequate body temperature and fuel neurological development. A single successful feeding is not a verdict. It is a single data point in a sequence that must repeat reliably across the next 2 days. What we need to see, and what this community needs to monitor, is consistency across multiple feeding sessions over the next 48 hours. Not one good feeding, a pattern of adequate access. Here is what the science tells us about nests like this one. In documented cases of bald eagle sibling pairs with a hatch gap of 12 hours or less, survival rates for the second-born eaglet through the first 30 days run at approximately 60 to 70%. That figure is significantly higher than broods where the gap exceeds 24 hours, where second-born survival drops below 40%. The 12-hour gap in this nest is, forensically speaking, an advantage. Jackie and Shadow are experienced parents. Shadow's consistent prey delivery, including the courtship feeding behavior documented in recent sessions, indicates the nest is receiving adequate nutrition at the macro level. The question is not whether there is enough food. The question is whether Jackie's distribution of that food reaches eaglet number 2 with enough regularity to sustain development. Nature is not cruel. It is indifferent. It prioritizes survival above sentiment. And in this nest, right now, both eaglets are still in the game. In the coming 48 hours, here is exactly what this community should be monitoring. 1. Eaglet number 2's crop fullness after each feeding session. 2. Jackie's beak angle during food delivery. Is she consistently reaching toward the outer nest bowl? 3. Shadow's prey delivery frequency. More food coming in means more food available for distribution. If you're watching this nest live, you're not just a viewer anymore. You're part of the record. Document the timestamp, which eaglet fed first, and whether eaglet number 2's crop was visible afterward. If you appreciate this kind of in-depth forensic analysis of the events in Big Bear Valley, consider becoming a newsroom supporter. Your membership directly funds this coverage and keeps Scape news on the story. Make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on, because in a nest this active, the next chapter could break at any moment. Subscribe, like, share, and ring the bell so you don't miss what breaks next. For Scape News, I'm signing off, but you can enjoy some bonus feedings. Stay watchful. We thank you. And, as always, be safe.